Submit your favorite champion and go going will play it day. I submitted Rek'Sai. He happened to pick it up.
There we go. Well, my favorite champion's Heimerdinger. Maybe that's what he'll play next year. We did pop into the draft here. OMG on the blue side, King over on the red. Maokai Thresh, the first two bans for OMG. Nah, LeBlanc there for King. So pretty standard bans to kick things off.
Yeah, standard bans. Let's see if we get some more crazy picks. Really looking forward to what these guys pull out. It was a Juggernaut without a and then an Ezreal mid lane somehow. And
yeah, missing the Moore and Morgana there for the Juggernaut, so didn't have that available. Instead had a second AD carry. Rumble there, actually an interesting ban there, kind of away from going, but I guess targeted at Sky as well. I expect Nidalee to get picked quite early or even banned here by King, but again, last time this happened, OMG picked two junglers in their first two picks, but they're on the blue side now.
And a ban directed straight at going there. Want to get rid of his Rek'Sai.
Don't want to see it again. I mean, it at least caused some problems here. And this is definitely what I expect for OMG, with one of the top junglers down to take the other one. And Loveling's literally looked great. He's going to have it again.
Well, this is the thing about red side. If you're going to ban one jungle on red side, you really need to make it two jungle bans right now, because Nidalee and Rek'Sai just head and shoulders above anything else on the current patch, and really have to disagree with what King is doing. Loveling looked completely fine on the Nidalee and has been picked up.
Yeah, I mean, so looked great. Going to have it again is, I guess, a flex pick in some ways, but I love this from King. Going to get the Cho'Gath that wasn't banned, and Kalista there for Woosh as well.
Yeah, so Kalista being picked away from Uzi was completely ignored last time around, but mid lane, Assassin gets the Cho'Gath, looking to put some pressure on Cool now, and want to see what the response is, because we haven't seen a definitive counter to Cho'Gath yet, and I think there are a couple of out there. Want to see what gets picked up.
Why is Ari open, by the way? I just noticed that dropped through the picks at this point. That might be okay against Cho'Gath. It's at least pretty hard for Assassin to kill him, although we've seen a lot of kills by Cho'Gath just from silence, flash, eat you.
Yeah, exactly right. As soon as you land that, you land one W, and then you're in kill range as soon as level 6 comes through. Just ridiculous damage coming through. We see a Kalista being picked up. We saw actually the Frozen Tomb deny the flash ultimate kill, so maybe that's a tactic to go with, but not convinced that is the counter coming through, and Uzi's still going to pick up that Sivir in the bottom lane.
Yeah, back to, more mid-game centric, very team-oriented picks here for Uzi. So not going to go for a hyper carry. Thinks he's, better at this point for his team comp, and going to take the Sivir here. We've got the Lissandra coming through for either top or mid. Both cool and going very proficient Lissandra players. And OMG, one of the best double AP teams in the world. I love their Lissandra casting when they were playing early in the season. No casting really, of course, on this patch, because he's not so good on 5.4, maybe 5.5. But King going to get their next few picks here, and it's going to be aggressive support for Lamb. No Thresh, but takes Leona, and MLXG going to go back to Rengar.
And they showed the pony for so long, Hecarim, who deals extremely well with Lissandra. So now maybe they're forced to put it in the mid lane, because that threat is looming if they do decide to send it into top. And across the board, this time around, King having a much better draft phase, you feel. A lot of comfort picks nearly across the board.
Yeah, and everything slots in quite nicely with each other as well. I wonder what OMG want to do with the rest of their bottom lane and the other half of the map. They've got plenty of options here. Looks like Cloud wants to go for Morgana, and Ezreal's the last pick there.
Yeah, so Ezreal being picked up. If they go with the Hecarim here, that is a lot of tanky members on the side of King. Maybe too many to actually be dealt with from two relatively low AD carries that aren't really known for their tank busting ability.
Yeah, a little weird, I guess, but we'll have to see. I assume that's cool playing Ezreal, by the way, because they're probably not laning Sivir in a solo lane, which would give going to Lissandra, which, as you mentioned, could be some problems potentially moving in there, but sure, it'll be fine here. King, considering their last pick here as well, but going to keep it safe, and Sky goes back to Aurelia.
Yeah, and Aurelia, once again, fantastic matchup against Lissandra, so you feel that King's draft phase here, well and truly ahead of what OMG have brought to the table, and there's no tank on the OMG lineup. That's the first thing to look at, and a lot of pick potential coming through from King with that Leona, with the Bowler Strike, as well as the re-engage that comes through from Woosh's Fate's Call. Across the board, so much CC, so many tanky members. You feel that there might not be the damage to come through from OMG.
Yeah, I mean, they've got two ADs and another mage who does a decent damage, but you're right, just the positioning alone might be the tricky part. And I guess my question is, cool, he's kind of been let off the leash a lot of times here. He's really, I think, hard carried a lot of OMG's games more than anyone else. How good is his Ezreal? Because this matchup, probably a wash for going, if not slightly unfavored.
Yeah, exactly right. And you see that Sky in there with the Aurelia plays it so well. LMLXG gets a Rengar pick, and Loveling goes back to the Nidalee. The thing about Nidalee, she's so good if CC comes through and she can delete someone. Not going to be the case with a Cho'Gath.
No, and right here it's Ezreal versus Cho'Gath Assassin, showing a lot of proficiency in the mid lane. 1v1 in almost any matchup. No one's found a good answer yet. Maybe it's Ezreal's. Uzi back to Sivir again against the Kalista, which was open.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's a powerful lane. Kalista, Leona, a lot of kill potential, even at level 2, and Cloud on there with the Black Shield, trying to keep Uzi safe. 2 spell shields, always a good thing in the bottom lane, but it is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud, again, we've praised him for his mechanics. Thresh banned once again away from him, so not going to get that available to him. Going to have to be on point with his spell shields, for sure. You know what? We're going to find out if he is. We'll get straight into the game. And welcome onto the Rift here for our second game between OMG and King. OMG are up a game after a very strong performance, namely from their mid laner and jungler. Loveling's Nidalee looked fantastic in the first game. Let's see if you can replicate that success here in the second.
Yeah, it certainly did look great, and you see already the deep invade coming through from OMG. They will spot out MLXG here and see what they can do.
Loveling started traps last time to help his Krug camp. He's going to start them here again for a bit of vision. Actually, MLXG going to get aggressive there, but Loveling get a couple orders. Actually hunts him there as he walks through the trap. Pounces on top of him there. Actually must use the Q because he doesn't have... No, he does have Pounce. Never mind. Nidalee abilities are hard. But just a bit of trade there, and OMG going to get the deep wards they're looking for.
Of course, Nidalee's abilities just do too many things. Hard
too
to
many
keep
of
track.
them. Too many. And King going to respond in kind with the deep wards. So both teams, you have to think, looking for a lane swap.
Yeah, so maybe looking for a lane swap to dodge that Kalista Leona. I think Kalista Leona would be very content if they got the 2v2 lane. Not to mention the fact that it would send Aurelia into the Lissandra, which they're definitely looking for. So everyone recalling. Hopefully no one showing themselves on the map. And looks like King sending Aurelia into the bottom lane. That will be the solo matchup.
Yeah, that's their prediction as Uzi and Cloud. No, actually trending towards the top side. Going to stay up here. We saw a lot of fast pushing from Uzi Sivir in the first game. Have to think they might be looking for a similar thing here.
Oh, they've shown a little bit early. Uzi can recall if he wants to. They don't. They ping it out. Will be standard lanes. Going back to base. We'll have to teleport to get there in time, and this is a win for King.
Yeah, absolutely. You expect that they want the 2v2 matchup just based on lane kill position. There's going to pop down towards the bottom side. Loveling will start his blue buff solo, but should be just fine on his own and will break out in the standard lanes, albeit the duos are in the top side.
Yeah, so Loveling actually placing 2 traps there. Doesn't miss the hunted, so doesn't get the double pounce, but gets a lot of auto attack harass in human form and will stay so healthy taking this first buff.
Loveling, again, incredible jungle mechanics here. Lovely to see him really just clear through the jungle with these MLXG. Little low here, but already level 2 after the Grump and should be able to safely take away the blue.
Yeah, of course, Rengar kites around kind of in between abilities and then uses the attack speed that comes out on his Q very well, and you see aggression.
Yeah, Uzi actually getting bladed, now ignited as well. Woosh going to keep moving in, forcing the flash out, but Woosh going to come in as well. The ignites down the Ren, maybe looking to come through here. Does come in, and Kalista gets first blood. Now Loveling moved in there as well. That spear just missed, but he's flashing forward. A great scene to play there for Liam. Loveling getting kited around as well. The Ren comes in, but there's the kill as it gets traded back for Leona. Now Cloud going to get aggressed on the single buff Leona at level 2. And a bloodbath in the top lane.
Yeah, and 2 kills across to the King lineup. We mentioned how strong they would be. The good thing is they got the return kill on the AD carry, which is the important thing to note because it will mean not able to grab all that free farm and the lane pushing in Uzi's in favor. So if they're able to get any form of freeze here, will be good news. But MLXG, real beneficiary. No hope of anyone invading him. Gets to go a very aggressive jungle route. Doesn't need it back.
Yeah, super low there as well, but will stay safe with the smite on the red buff for the health and his W. With Max Fury, they're giving him a bit of health if he wants it. Cool trading very nicely against Assassin. We expect Ezreal to be strong in most of his early lanes, but this is a weird one. Haven't seen Cool play Ezreal this split, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think we have either, and this is the fun thing about mid Cho'Gath. He actually doesn't care how low he goes. There's no ignite coming through here, and he just sustains so healthy off minion waves that he can just turn around, clear it out once he gets to level 5 and not have a care in the world.
Yeah, we've seen so many players ban this champion away, specifically from Assassin and Wayless, of course, from LGD. So Interesting that they got it. They must have expected it here. Cool. You know, preparing something fairly safe on the Ezreal. But again, Assassin's been very good at actually assassinating people with Cho'Gath.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Cho'Gath has the exact opposite spike that what Ezreal does. Ezreal wants to get to 2 items. Cho'Gath doesn't really care about his items overly much. In fact, has a very flexible route. Can go some CDR, can go the roller, can even throw a Frozen Heart in there for the CDR, and it'd be extremely tanky just with his health pool. And you see already that in lane, he just walks back and forward, uses those auto attacks to take out the wave extremely quickly, and then sustains so nicely.
Yeah, that passive just doing a lot of work here in the mid lane. Just, you know, moving in actually does nail him. That bit of harass coming in, cool. Getting quite low on this. What we talk about, AP Cho'Gath, that W just does so much damage.
Yeah, it certainly does, and the silence is even further frustrating because you can't E out of the follow-up damage that can come through. The auto attacks do a surprising amount.
Uzi gets nailed there by another Zenith Blade, and Whoosh with a great bit of harass. Good luck up there as the binding will hit, but Lamb is real tanky on this Leona.
Yes, certainly is. Already has a Sightstone because he's able to pick up the kill and the assist early on in the game. Also using that blue buff to spam out as many spells as he possibly can. Of course, Leona not really known for going at all. And MLXG looking for a gank on Going.
He's going to find it here. The E out, though, is actually enough. They go Going flashes as well, just to be sure, but he's forced back to base now.
That was the very last moment of that E. And remember, Going had to use his teleport, so a well-timed gank, because he can't get back to this lane. It's going to cost him maybe 2 minion waves.
Yeah, MLXG even pulling them wave just a bit more as well to kind of push that in. So Going going to be denied for quite a bit here. Loveling in the top will clear out a ward for himself and trying to apply some pressure back. Uzi, thankfully for all the shenanigans at level 2, he's actually even on CS slightly ahead actually.
Yeah, there is a big creep wave stacked up there. And actually, Going just managed to get his teleport off cooldown. Does a lot of damage to Sky in that trade. So that will suit Going fine, pushing him out of lane.
MLXG maybe even looking for a gank here. The level 4 Max Fury ready for the boulder. Going towards the tri-bush. We'll see Rengar as he walks by again, although MLXG staying very well out of vision.
Yeah, now he'll go in.
Yeah, Equilibrium straight. He's going to be pop. MLXG going to run around, and not many good places for Lissandra to run. Going, trying to find it. Might just kill Sky. Thankfully, he's not level 6 yet. Damage coming in. MLXG flashing over the top and smites him for the kill, but Sky does get ulted by Ezreal.
Yeah, so nice snipe coming through from Cool, who has gone back and picked up that tier 6 minutes through, so he's got that nice and early. We'll start stacking that up, but in the end, a 1-for-1 trade. Summoner spell's burnt for MLXG, however.
Assassin with that Catalyst. You already talked about it. He's pretty much removable in this lane already. Now that's even harder for Cool to get him out. And Assassin feasting onto minions. Going to get tankier with that health as well. Just nothing you can do against the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, and the thing about the feast is the fact... Ooh.
Flasher onto Uzi as well. Whoosh now going to dive in as well. Good damage moving to him. Might be another kill here. Kalista gets it with the rank. Cloudy is with Loveling though, but Loveling nails the spear. Here we're going to get popped there. Hopping away with the minions, but does get slowed there by the Chilling Smite. Good block though from Lamb for Loveling not to be able to hunt Whoosh, and another kill in this top lane.
Yeah, so doing extremely well. 13 CS and 2 kills up. Has gone for the sustain route to augment that further. Really like what's happening in this top lane for King, and a very questionable draft. Looks like this time around it will come back to bite OMG.
And you know, if this happens to them, I think more often than they would like at this point. When they look good, they look great. When they look bad, they seem to lose to themselves. And auto attack whistles back to the base there just to meet Whoosh, who's now got a BF sword going very aggressive with the early build.
Yeah, so I like the aggression coming out here. We're seeing this even further coming through from Kalista's going the single target build, maybe even throwing a Phantom Dancer as opposed to the Hurricane in there for some extra attack speed. And what that means is that the resets that come through only on a single target but come through much quicker. So a little bit of an evolution in the builds that we're seeing from Kalista, generally against very tanky people that want to dive her solo, but maybe the Bloodthirster coming out first.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodthirster just a great first choice for Kalista in general. Hurricane is, I feel like, for situations where you're not going to secure your early farm, but he's got a comfortable CS lead here against Uzi and's already got 2 kills and an assist. So I feel like Whoosh just realizes it's makes more sense for him to go the aggressive item, and that's probably BT in this case.
I also think it's a better zoning build because you can go the auto attack into the Q, that spear that comes through, and Ren straight away, and it's a lot of poke damage. Then you go back to your lane and hold it, whereas if you're got the Hurricane first, you automatically have to push your wave, which means that you can't trade when you want to trade, you have to continually push in. And Layam, you see, going extremely aggressive straight away.
Yeah, I think Zenith played just missing there as well. Layam actually will get tagged there by a binding, but Uzi is eating so many spears, and look at the Ren damage.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. If that was Hurricane and he turned around and hit the wave, it would automatically push. With the BF sword, single target damage, can last hit, and then try and zone Uzi off the wave.
And you know what? If he wants to go Hurricane after this, he's got a perfect opportunity to do so as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Not out of the build path. Hurricane and Bloodthirster is the regular build at 2 items, so not changing much around. And in the bottom lane, actually, going extremely low.
Yeah, actually going to ult Sky, loving in a dive in as well. Good kill there from the Nidalee, and going. We'll stay safe from Sky's Aurelia.
Yeah, and actually burns the flash, so a lot of kill potential down, but not over.
Uzi, yeah, moving in as well. Layam getting aggressive. Rengar trying to dive in as well. Cloud could be in trouble. Tuesday's ulti gets away somehow. Cool. Looks for the sniper, can't find it. Whoosh is so low, they're going to hop away with those spears, and a very nice play there by Cloud.
Yeah, so in the end, able to pick up a kill in response, relieves some pressure, but it's not stopping the bleeding in terms of CS. And in the bottom lane, Loveling will also pick up the Dragon. So all 3 bottom lane, which is top lane actually, the solo lane's picking up a kill. And now Loveling grabbing an objective. That's a lot in favor of OMG quickly.
Yeah, nice work here, but they're still down in gold. They'll be happy for the first Dragon. And mid lane's actually the lane that's not going well here. Cool. Just keeps hitting, harasses MLXG, wants Uzi a good spell shield to keep him safe, but Whoosh gonna go forward. There's so much damage from this Kalista, and an easy kill onto Uzi.
Yeah, so able to pick up a 3rd kill and even further the CS advantage we thought was going to, I guess, start to equalize. Uzi's gone back, picked himself up an Avarice Blade. He's completely forfeited this lane.
And again, on every champion we've ever seen Uzi play, even something quite defensive like Sivir, it's rare to see him lose a lane like this. So very impressive from King's duo.
Yeah, it certainly is. An Assassin cheekily tanking up the first shot of that ultimate coming through and zoning a lot of CS away from Cool, who we can see already having to play defensive because you can't budge the Cho'Gath.
No, I mean, you're going to get your farm as Ezreal. That's probably the nice thing, is that you're guaranteed to, if you play safely, have a decent farm lane. But Cho'Gath pushes in well, he pressures you well. I mean, it's a weird pick, and it's not that common, but Assassin especially is so good at this champion, and BT's already done for Kalista.
Yeah, so able to get in there, that's even more sustained. Cloud actually trying to clear out a green ward there. Needs to be careful, doesn't get caught out, because once again, MLXG and Layam setting up a trap.
Uzi's in the wrong side of the map, unfortunately, and Cloud might eat it. There does ward on top. Black Shield down as well. The first bowler will get blocked by it there, and a good binding. Cloud, again, on point with his mechanics.
Yeah, certainly is able to get that one off in time. We see Cool actually getting some free time in the mid lane as Assassin takes his blue buff.
By himself, because Cho'Gath.
Because Cho'Gath.
I mean, again, once upon a time was a good jungler as well. Cho'Gath does a whole lot of things well. And again, it's weird to see that only China seems to be the region that wants to play it quite actively and only select players, but the players that play it are very good at it.
Yeah, I certainly agree there as well. Uzi takes half his health. Sky needs to be careful here. About to get dove by 3.
Yeah, going, moving in. Ulti should set up a pretty easy dive. There's the ultimate. Actually missing by Ezreal, but going. Will chase in and gets the kill.
Yeah, so able to dive the Aurelia again. 0-3-1. Sky, what should be a winning matchup because of the camp, is turning into an absolute nightmare for him. Assassin not responding. Will it be able to push out the lane relatively quickly? But Ezreal, with all the mobility, will go there to soak it up. Actually, looks like Uzi's called dibs. Wants nothing to do with the Kalista anymore.
Yeah, no, doesn't like the lane. Has just been struggling so much here and will collect them. CS might even be a full-on swap, at least for a while, but going to collect what CS he can. Uzi pretty good against Cho'Gath. It's a very predictable telegraph CC and spell shield. Quite good there. So Uzi happy in this matchup, even though he's 3 levels down.
Yeah, certainly is a lot happier there, although might not be so happy here.
No, not happy at all. They get Dovan. Great bowler there following in from the ulti. No spell shield left on Uzi. Goes down to Layam.
Yeah, and the thing about camping players like Uzi is it's so much more effective because we already know that they're emotional players. So once you get them behind, they're looking for windows to pump themselves back up. And the further behind you push them, the more that starts to play on their mind. So I like the tactic coming through. Looks like Sky in a similar situation on the hump pop.
Yeah, MLXG going to use the ulti. Loveling, can he get away? Will have to flash over the wall. Gromp going to get taken away as well. Cloud even will get slowed up by a bowler. Gets snared by that one. MLXG really liking just, annoying people with skill shots. Whoosh, though, in the meantime, will look to take the top turret. Still freezing here. Just trying to deny as much as he can. He's 40 CS ahead.
And this is the thing. They have complete control over this turret. Will now take it down to get their gold lead back. But I was going to say they're not behind even if they don't want to tank it. And It's so hard to push Cho'Gath out of this lane. He's got wave clear for days. We'll be able to clear that out whenever he wants, and not really in much danger of Lissandra Ezreal pressuring the mid lane.
No, and 20 CS up now for Assassin as well. I guess we saw the one weakness where you can outroam Cho'Gath quite effectively because he's really slow, but he stays in his wave. He'll push pretty consistently. Eventually, you have to answer his pressure, and Cool went to the bottom lane, got an assist there to kill Aurelia, but Assassin just getting further and further ahead. He's got his Rod of Ages done now.
Yeah, and I like what Cho'Gath does as a laner because he's very methodical, very slow. You know what he's going to do, but it's so frustrating to try and stop, and you've seen that OMG haven't been able to do it. He's got absolutely massive. Roll where he's stacking up, and now it's to the point where you're like, okay, at 25 minutes, this guy's going to be 3 items, and he's going to be so hard to kill.
Yeah, so much effective health coming through from that ultimate. Level 11 definitely helping out there as well. Cloud will join in level 6 there on the Morgana. Definitely wants to avoid the Cho'Gath feast. And Cool, he's got blue buff. He's got his ulti. He can, you know, trim reasonably well, but can't outpush the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, exactly, and he'll neutralize the wave well. There's no way to really deny Cool CS, but it's kind of the Karthus matchup where you want to get as much CS off the Cho'Gath as you can, but you can't really get it done.
No, and Woosh actually might be getting Genko going with a good glacial path, but actually not following there. Lamb was defending well, so perhaps some nice wards there for King. Cool will use his ulti. Dragon actually back in a minute here. So OMG might be looking for the second. Lamb actually going to get hunted there as well. Will get chased down. Fate Skull, though, does get popped, and he'll go to safety.
Yeah, so just throws himself back at the turret. Not really in any danger of dying, although that is an important ultimate out just before a dragon. So OMG starting to claw their way back into this game. They're still at a disadvantage because of how big this Kalista is compared to Uzi, who maybe is even going for a static Shiv first.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just needs the wave clear, knows that he has to catch up in CS. I see you shaking your head. It's not a good situation for Uzi. He's been killed 4 times already and is down in CS here. I mean, he's scrounging for anything you have, even taking away the Wolf Game here just for a bit of extra gold.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's even picked up the dagger for his boots, wants the boots too as soon as possible. And it's just not a great situation to be in as Uzi. He needs to be able to put out damage against these tanky mid-game champions like the Aurelia, who's going to grab the Ninja Tabite. Already actually has them, so Uzi's just going to do no damage at all.
Lamb, we're going to clear out the pink ward as well. Good spears actually from Loveling. Going to maybe keep King's jungler off this next dragon. That's OMG's one tangible lead that they actually have against King so far. But King has plenty of good tools to fight if OMG really want to force the issue. And I think they want to. OMG are moving aggressively towards the dragon.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're trying to clear out. They have a timer on this, however, because Sky, he's continuing to push in that lane and has teleport available. So they need to go soon if they are going to get the dragon. And Sky, maybe one more wave will hit the turret, and then he'll be under serious threat of taking that one away. See what the response from OMG is.
I mean, OMG have all this poke, so they have to sort of set up for the dragon. They can't brute force it, because if this fights, this is bad news. Flasher onto Loveling. Good binding going to land in, though, as well, but he does go down now. Assassin going to join the mix as well. Cloud gets knocked up there. Silence there, and is going to get eaten there by that Cho'Gath, but Woosh actually takes it away. Assassin doesn't even use his ulti.
Yeah, doesn't have to use the ultimate. It means it's up to secure this dragon, even though the jungler went down. So good play out of Assassin there. They've still got Sky split pushing in the top lane, and this might mean 2 objectives at the same time.
Really nice force there from King. Going to collect so much here in this situation. First dragon going to go down. Kalista, of course, secures it with the Ren. So much objective security from the Cho'Gath, the Smite, even though it was down, and the Kalista.
Yeah, it certainly is. You're going to have a real difficult time getting any neutral objective away from this team if they're the ones starting it up. Of course, Death's still the best CC. Can't smite, feast, or use a Ren through that.
Nope, can't cleanse out of that one as Woosh. Still moving down in the bottom side. Does have a recurve bow now, so hopping pretty deftly between these minions. CSing him as best he can. Hurricane will be coming up fairly shortly as well. And again, it's the nice part about this build. He got the Bloodthirster, got ahead in his lane, still massively ahead of Uzi as far as CS goes. And the Hurricane comes and he's ready to push, ready to fight. Whatever King need him to do, he can do.
Yeah, and he's just such a threat. Uzi's got that static Shiv built up, hasn't got boots to at this point. And the double AD that is looking to hit the 2-item spike at about the 22-minute mark isn't going to come through at all for OMG. So this game has to go super late, where Cho'Gath goes into more of a tank. Lamb caught up, actually.
Yeah, Lamb actually dies. They go going with the ulti. They're able to do enough damage. So a nice pick there from OMG, but they need a little bit more here. Loving and Cool going to start sieging the Cho'Gath. Actually quite low on health here, but can OMG actually take out the mid turret?
Yeah, it looks like they're contesting the blue buff, so they will get something for it. Able to take that one away, give it to Cool. but they won't be able to contest the turret still. So much wave clear coming out.
Yeah, I mean, Civ is actually on top of it. Cho'Gath, yeah, not able to get into position, a little too low in health, and Uzi will claim that turret for OMG.
Yeah, so Cho'Gath actually went back. It's funny because you say Cho'Gath very low on health, but when you have an effective health pool of 2600 as a mid laner, even if you're at about a half, you're probably the same health as anyone else in that mid lane. You just got a lot more of it. And we see he's actually picked up a needlessly large rod for himself, so going a very AP heavy build. I thought with the double AD we might see a second item Frozen Heart. Looks like they just want all the damage.
Yeah, and he just wants to eat people here and, you know, get to that CDR. I thought doesn't have any of it now, actually, and that's probably the highlight of Cho'Gath builds. What you have seen is make sure to get that Rupture on you into the 5-6 second cooldown and really get to 40% CDR ASAP.
Yeah, the importance about the Rupture is it gives you a good zoning tool in a team that can't really siege. We speak about how you need range carries to siege, and they only really have Kalista to do that, who isn't extremely long range. So we see that they might have a little bit of a challenge on the side of King to be able to take out these turrets because of the fact that Cho'Gath, of course, melee as well as the Aurelia.
Yeah, I mean, in empty lanes, they'll push them very quickly, and that's evident here in the bottom side. Lamb actually moving through the red side jungle, just putting some wards down and zoning them off. That outer turret's going to die real quick here as OMG take away a red buff.
Yeah, so they're able to grab a red buff. They trim the wave bottom lane with the Ezreal ult, so maybe not the second turret push going to come through, and all of a sudden, fast push coming in the top lane.
Yeah, lots of rotations, actually. Both teams sort of trading turrets. That probably favors OMG because they're a little bit behind, but Assassin going to move into the top. 4 members of OMG here, but Cho'Gath comes in and everybody runs away. In fact, Sky going to go aggressive. Good Black Shield and Spell Shield, though, from Uzi.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, OMG look like they're the ones that are making the proactive movements. They're a turret up, actually sneak a gold lead when bottom lane went that horribly wrong. That's impressive.
Yeah, it really is, and you can see the gold between the two. Whoosh is still very far ahead of Uzi, but every other lane seems just fine for OMG. In fact, they're winning in mid and top.
Yeah, it certainly does seem.
And jungle.
Yeah.
And support. They're winning everywhere but Uzi, basically. We did it.
We did it.
Now wave clear going to come through as well. Cool, we'll trim the wave aggressively. Again, you mentioned it already, not the best siege here for King unless they can out-rotate, and OMG have been doing that in the last few minutes.
Yeah, the one worry I have about OMG is that Power Spike has been so delayed that if this game gets to the 3rd and 4th Dragon, all of a sudden King have a very real win objective in just stacking up neutral objectives. And when you get to the point that even though you're taking more turrets, you're not winning in gold, and the Dragon buff is just looming over you with such a good neutral objective team. It really does, on this current, I guess, since this season has come in, play on your mind exactly how many of those objectives teams are picking up.
Yeah, Assassin level 13 now as well. You can see King are very slowly, almost like a glacier, just pushing through another lane, but when they're grouped together, Cho'Gath is just such a threat on his own. And even Whoosh actually going to return to the empty lane farm. King wanting to rotate, going to try and take out some deeper turrets in the bottom half of the map.
So what this tells me is that King are very confident playing pick and getting farm onto all 3 of their carries. They're splitting them across the map still, and it's 22 minutes into the game. The 2-item spike has been picked up by Cool as well as the transformation, so he's exactly where he wants to be. With the exception of Uzi being behind, this early game has belonged to OMG.
Yeah, and you know, Uzi will pick himself up eventually. He's almost got his Infinity Edge completed. Actually still has that dagger just for the cost-efficient attack speed, but hasn't needed to buy the boots yet. Here, red buff will get stolen away by King, you have to think, with no one from OMG around. But at this point, they're almost trading halves of the map.
They certainly are, and MLXG has treated this game like a tri-lane, really hasn't left the bottom side, and we see actually ulting now.
He just wants to protect his dual lane there, but Cool going to get jumped on. Actually gets bowled after Arcane shifting. Forced a flash there as well. So good cooldown used there. Cloud actually going to nail the binding. MLXG though will get Boomerang bladed, but the heal not enough to save him as Cloud gets him. Layham though, dive on there, gets straight onto Loveling with the ulti as well. Very good use of the Fate's Call.
Yeah, really good layering CC as well, just out of Layham, and they take away some of the poke damage and will push in on this turret, be able to siege it up.
So they take it up there. Actually need one more hit. Whoosh will get it there. Actually jumps pretty aggressively forward there in Kalista, but we talked about it. 2 items is go time there for Kalista, and King have been teamfight ready for a while. It's just a matter of finding those teamfights, and that last one, exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, and until then, OMG had actually done a very good job of avoiding any fights. Cloud went a little bit aggressive, you would have to think, after Cool was relatively safe with that cleanse, so questionable decision from Cloud to throw out that Dark Binding, but good capitalization coming through from King to be able to trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, Cool going to move in, do a little bit of farming, but actually wants to get to the Dragon now as it has respawned. It's one apiece, remember, but Woosh is already on top, but putting spears into it. Cho'Gath here as well. MLXG ready for the smite, and OMG cannot secure this away from King.
Yeah, and MLXG thinking maybe I just should have taken Ignite in the jungle, because right now, after about level 4, I'm not ever going to be able to use it.
Going there, flash shotting onto Assassin actually. Cho'Gath quite squishy there. Spear does land, going it slow, but Cho'Gath going to flash out. He will die there as Sky picks up the kill, and now Fate's Call going to get used onto Lovely. Massive knock up there from so far away. Now the bowler comes in for the snare as well, and Woosh gets another kill.
And all of a sudden, this team fight that was behind for OMG is starting to try and get things going, and it's because of the Dragon objective that's being taken away repetitively by King, but Cho'Gath, at this point in time, really isn't the guy you want to be, I guess, initiating onto.
No, and he died quite quickly. Didn't have that many defensive stats, but the health pool's just so hard to get through that he was able to live, and now has a Zoni. So the next time that happens, Assassin, not even going to get close to dying.
Yeah, exactly right. And all of a sudden, Sky, who was held behind, is relevant in this game with the Trinity Force, as well as that Shroud being picked up. And Uzi, you still have to say, not doing much damage against the Ninja Tabby.
No, I mean, just needs at least the Infinity Edge, which is coming through eventually. Probably has the gold for it at this point, but still farming away here and 4 TCS behind still against his Kalista.
Yeah, so still not able to get close, not to mention the 6 kills that Woosh has been able to pick up for himself. Really is the standout in this performance, although I give a lot of credit to Liam for getting him in this position to begin with. And across the map, King are exactly where they want to be all of a sudden, because OMG tried to pick some fights.
Yeah, and Woosh now with a Phantom Dancer to add in as well, just for basically the synergy with the passive and the extra attack speed. There's obviously not a whole lot of crit going on. It's not too bad, especially if he wants an IE eventually, but we've seen a lot of Phantom Dancer Kalista, and it's basically just for martial poise.
Yeah, well, the thing is, in that team fights, the crit becomes so much better than the Hurricane late game. So this actually allows him to sell the Hurricane if he keeps getting farmed. Realistically, if you are an AD carry, you're expecting the game to go later, you're going to have the freedom to be able to swap items in and out. So you can itemize for the relevant point in the game. Hurricane giving him all the early control, now going into a Phantom Dancer for that late game damage.
Yeah, but is just fine here in the build as well, which is the bit I love about it. It's such a good transitional item as Phantom Dancer. Is we see Baron maybe getting a look at as well. We've already talked about King's ability to secure neutral objectives. Baron would die quickly and get smited quickly as well.
Yeah, exactly right. The last thing I want to touch on with a Phantom Dancer, a little bit more of a luxury build because there's no tank. So doesn't really need the Last Whisper as the third item, can afford to go for something that he feels will put him in fantastic transitional trends, as you said. So at this point, no one on the OMG lineup really is ever going to pick up armor. So probably something he doesn't need to worry about until maybe the 6th item.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Woosh maybe even thinks about a Banshee's Veil as his 4th item, because the only real threat is Going's ultimate. As soon as that's out of the picture, either with QSS or Banshees, whichever defensive item he wants, he's probably just going to have a field day in the team fights.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that maybe QSS is the right decision for that, because it means that any stray Ezreal Qs won't be popping the possibility to be able to avoid that one. And a little bit cheaper as well means he can keep going aggressive.
Have to worry about Loveling Spears as well. That's the other major damage source that could burst him down. But Mikhail's has been rushed here by Lame. It's been up for about 5 to 10 minutes at this point. He's had it for so long, and just all the protection he could ever need. Sky returning now. Lots of good cost-efficient tank items. It hasn't built any major ones yet, but has all the relevant components for the Frozen Heart, and probably the Banshees coming up there, honestly. Or maybe even Spirit Visage for Aurelia. Trinity Force has been done. Warmog's up for Rengar. Everything is going right for King right now.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to touch on is Assassin's boot choice. Has gone for all the mitigation of the AD damage, grabs a Ninja Tabby, going to be very resilient, and face check coming through from Lamb.
Yeah, Lamb is going to eat it there, but does get Fates called out. Going actually rushing with the Black Shield on him. Lamb actually gets thrown back in towards him, but Going ults him there as well. Lamb will live there. Not enough damage here as Sky teleports in, trying to look for Uzi, but the ultimate's been popped by Sivir. Assassin just tanking all of the damage. Wooch actually eats a straight spear. Cool. Going massive there. The binding hits on. The spear lands as well, and they've killed the Kalista.
And all of a sudden, OMG are in a winning position in this team fight.
Loveling Spears are so good here. Still chasing on the Nidalee as well. Assassin now, the next target. Binding by Cloud lands again. Loveling gets destroyed though as the Zonias comes in, and King are going to try and turn it around. Uzi tanking turret. Sky hits another binding by Cloud, and Cool gets that kill.
And this is the weakness. Oh, they're still going.
Jesus. Just Zonya's there for Going, collect the last kill, and that's actually an ace.
Yeah, ace coming through, completely swinging the gold lead back into their favor. Just when you didn't know how OMG were going to take a fight, they managed to somehow do it.
And we kind of hinted at it earlier. Cloud, arguably the most mechanically proficient support in the world, demonstrating it with aplomb there with those bindings.
Yeah, certainly did. And the base all of a sudden has been broken for King. OMG taking a team fight and running with it as far as possible. Now backing away. Need to be careful that the Baron doesn't come through in a couple of seconds, although it looks like they got their recalls off in time.
Yeah, so they are going to go back here, spend some well-earned cash after those fights. Last Whisper done for Cool is his next major item. Loveling probably moving for a Void stuff there. He's got his Magus and the Seraphs already done. Uzi now has gotten, you know, close to 3 items now, almost with the Last Whisper completed as well. And even an extra need to see Large Rod for going on top of his Zhonya. So lots of power here. Loveling will dodge the Fates Call. Liam trying to line up the ulti, bit of binding will somehow miss there, but going. He's going to come back in, does activate the Q there, snare again, plus the ulti, and just so much poke here.
Yeah, so much poke. Wow.
Which it's a binding, but cool. It actually does get the kill into Leona. Ulti pop there by Cloud, but Sky's going deep in the backline. Does get 2 kills, I believe, though. Cool. Looks like to get away. Cloud, though, will go down to Wooch as he gets a double. Sky now going to chase around Cool, but he does pop over the wall. Sky falls in, though, gets the kill, the Equilibrium Strike, and a 4-for-1 this time in King's favor.
Yeah, so able to turn it around. MLXG might fall.
Yeah, actually, to last turret here will get the kill. Great spears again. Next one will miss Sky, but they do get the turret.
Yeah, and once again, this is a benefit of the Cho'Gath Callista combo. They still have both of their abilities available to secure this Baron. So even though no jungler, they're going to go for it.
Yeah, MLXG has been down for 2 different major buffs, including this one. And like you mentioned, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. Look how many spears are going into this one. Woosh going to completely destroy Baron.
Yeah, Assassin saving his ulti there as well. Does so much true damage as Loveling trying to go for it. Actually does get the kill into Assassin. Teleport coming in as well. Woosh got knocked up there by the Baron. Still moving in. He wants to secure it so bad, but going is going in. The Ren does get up and it will secure the Baron, but going getting low. But the kills come through, gets the double, and King turned a bad situation around.
Yeah, so they're able to trade 2 for 2 with that. Probably slightly in OMG's favor because they're knocking away the Baron buff, but the Baron is the real objective there that King were able to run away with, not to mention the fact that they will pick up their 3rd Dragon potentially as well. Although they're behind Uzi, he needs to be careful.
They want kills here. Cloud going to face check the brush. Woosh going to hop on top of him. Zenith play going to land in, and Woosh rends him to death.
Yeah, Cloud's still very impressive. He's landed so many binds onto a Callista, which I never thought I would see in this game. Actually even nailed that one. There was just no follow-up coming through, and all of a sudden, this Wuxian Liam Wrecking Ball really is rolling. 11, 2, and 4. Sitting on an absolute mound of gold, 3,500. They'll grab the Dragon.
Yeah, Woosh even starting it up as well. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be the carry and the jungler here in this particular game. Scuttlecrab going to die very swiftly as Loveling returning back. Now, Rabadon's not quite completed, actually going for that over the void stuff just for extra raw stats here. But Callista just out of control in this game.
Yeah, certainly is, and really is the solo carry right now. Everyone else has the luxury of just being able to go as tanky as they want because all the damage that you could ever possibly need is on Woosh.
And even Assassin, not that tanky. He does have his Zhonya's in his row and, of course, his ulti. So pretty tanky just relatively there. You can see building back the face stacks now that he's died. But, you know, still pretty healthy there with, what, 3,000 health almost?
Yeah, still able to get through there. And as you mentioned, those face stacks, because he has some CDR now, as well as being able to pick up this blue buff, won't feast blue, but then will go feast another camp with the ability to, I guess, halve the cooldown when using it on non-champions. Just so easy to stack up at level 16.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is that he now has more CDR with the Finnish Codex. That was the other thing. We talked about him wanting to get CDR on his build, and he's starting to do that. So luxury pretty much across the board for everyone else because Woosh is just so far ahead.
Yeah, it certainly is. He went back, finished off his last Whisper from a pickup, picked up the QSS, and then still had 900 gold sitting in his pocket and was like, well, I don't know what I want to do with this. Didn't choose to upgrade the boots or his trinket, which I'm going to call out as maybe is a little bit of an overcommit to the Mercurial Scimitar potentially coming through, but has a piggy bank of gold set up.
He does, actually. Liam will eat a spear there. Loveling doing relevant damage now, even without the Rabadons quite finished. So King do have to be careful. Their backline is very squishy. I mean, they can use Cho'Gath maybe to tank a couple spears, but Assassin doesn't want to do that too much.
Yeah, he certainly does not. And I think that if the Blade of the Ruined King comes through on the Ezreal, that's the one chance that OMG really have to swing this game a little bit back in their favor. I think that needs to be the pickup over the Bloodthirster this time around because they're certainly doing relevant poke damage, but they need to shred through this tanky Cho'Gath, as you mentioned, who doesn't have any armor as of yet, apart from the Zhonya's Hourglass.
Yeah, MLXG going to take away some creeps here as well. Gets the Raptor camp done now, maybe looking for an initiation. OMG trying to defend the tier 2 in turret, but they might just get dived at this point.
Problem is there's not really a dive target apart from Aurelia, who's in the top lane, because MLXG went with that Warmogs into some magic resistance. So it has a lot of health, but doesn't have the armor needed to stay under the turret for the long periods of time.
He's actually pretty aggressively cleaning out the waves. Eats a spear for a lot of damage to his face, but will Boomerang Blade the wave and back off here. King are trying to push in, going successfully counter-pushing up against Sky, though. And OMG, if they can keep the waves at bay, just have to buy a little bit more time.
And I think that's the true success of this game, the fact that they haven't had to commit to any... Going has the luxury of being able to CC anyone because no one's committed to Mercury Tread, so really is in a position to, I guess, use that ultimate to the full effect. Probably the only thing that's stopping him from getting dove at this point, with how far ahead Aurelia has clawed herself into the lead.
Yeah, and that's a little ulti from Cool earlier before as well, actually pushing the mid wave in. So OMG, you know, can still do stuff despite all having to stay in one spot in the map here, at least 4 strong in the bottom half. Will actually rotate now as well as King give up the push, and that is the problem. The Baron buff dropped off, and they've got no good siege breaking tools.
Yeah, exactly right, and it really is up to this 5th Dragon, you feel, is coupled with a Baron buff that will be needed to win this game. Not only that, in the meantime, go and push Sky out of lane. So Sky, he's gone back, tail between his legs, thinking, how do I deal with this? Lissandra, apparently the answer is more armor coming through, and will be, I guess, forced to just go back into trimming that wave. Can't push in.
Yeah, Lissandra is pretty scary, actually. I like that he swapped away from really locking people up and just maybe basically peeling by using it on a front line, because, like you mentioned, no real Mercury Treads coming through. The QSS on the carry can't do that anymore. But just he's staying in short range and still dishing out relevant damage, despite the fact that his ulti's kind of been neutered at this point in the game.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I think that the fact he's gone Merc Treads until he picks up that Void Staff really has set him a little bit further behind. Needs to grab that one as soon as possible, questioning the fact that he's got another needlessly large rod sitting in his inventory right now. But across the board, item build's not really optimal for either team, so you can really pick holes in a lot of what these teams are doing right now. Both seem to be looking for an advantage and can't really get one.
Yeah, banking a lot of gold, I think, as well. Yeah, look over at OMG. Cool has 2,300 gold stacked up. Woosh has 2.2k. Like, there's a lot of gold to be spent, and I think teams know that there's no major objective up right now. So just going to farm up, buy their items, and then go for the next objective.
Yeah, and I guess this is a danger for OMG because there really is much better neutral control coming out of King. And we've seen that that's won games before in the LPL. Looks like that is what they're banking on winning this one. However, we've seen miracle team fights happen even in this game, so there's no reason that OMG can't do it again. They're a fantastic team fighting team, and putting everything on team fighting in the open, especially when the amount of poke, I feel it's a gamble.
It is a gamble. I mean, and they have to start making choices. 55 seconds till that next dragon. That's the 4th coming through for King. Baron going to be up in about 55 seconds now, as well as they're about 5 seconds between the major buffs here. We already talked about it. King have great security on their objective control here. Mercurial Scimitar's done now for Woosh, who's basically fully stacked with his first 6 items here. Everyone else pretty happy. Lots of good builds coming in. If OMG want to pick a fight for this 4th dragon, they have to go now.
Yeah, and no Void Staff on the jungle as well as the top lane as MLXG goes in.
Yeah, Cool actually will dodge away from the binding there. Forced to use his flash and his arcane shift, trying to steal away the rebuff with his ulti, but doesn't get it. Liam actually secures it on Leona.
Yeah, so going to be able to get in there with Leona, mix it up a little bit more, of course. Actually quite annoying with the red buff.
Very annoying. Yeah. Q auto resetting, being Fates called in there. Just more CC. Totally planned.
Exactly right. And we see actually OMG jockeying for position around Baron here. Might try and force a trade. However, very dangerous against Kalista because Kalista can take it solo and you can pressure with 4 members on the Baron objective. So we'll see if that is how King decide to match this little jockeying for position. Actually, they just go all in.
Yeah, Assassin was kind of down there, maybe thinking about it, but would have taken him a little too long, actually, despite the fact that he has good secure, doesn't do it that quickly. MLXG, though, diving onto Loveling, but misses, gets ulti there. Up by going, and will go down the bit. Assassin going in massive there, and everyone flashes out. Sky's in the backline as well. Wrecking face, going, is going to try and find a way out. Flashes over the top. Uzi gets the next kill onto lane. Kalista is so low from all the AoE. A massive rupture pops up 3. Cloud will miss another binding, but 2 free kills for OMG.
Yeah, and all of a sudden going pop teleport as well to try and get behind Woosh. Wasn't able to do it. Woosh healing up a lot, so probably in a position to now be able to contest this Baron that has been started up with no tank.
They don't, yeah, they have so little health left here as well. Loveling taking a lot of damage. Uzi might have to move in the tank. It Cool's actually in the front now as well as Uzi will move back around. Cloud coming in, and they did that so quickly.
Yeah, able to grab it nice and quickly. In response, King will be able to grab the dragon. However, it is only number 4, so you think that maybe this is the time for them to shine.
I mean, a decent trade for OMG. They're so far behind in Dragons that at this point onwards, every other Dragon is going to basically be a massive breaking point in the game because they have to fight for them now. They've got, a couple minutes now, 6, I guess, with the Dragon being down and a couple minutes with the Baron buff to really make a play and either get into a position where they can start controlling the Dragon or win the game. But that's a very short window for OMG, and Kings still have so many good tools to fight with.
They certainly do, and you see that the Bloodthirster was picked up by Cool. And Uzi, I feel, made the right choice in this decision. Actually went for the Blade of the Ruined King. With all the health stacking that's going on, not to mention the fact that there's a Frozen Heart, you really can't underestimate the power of the Blade.
Cool actually going to move in. MLXG will try and lock him down. Good weight, patience there, but he cleanses out of the next snare. Kind of running around with the chains on his feet. And Cool had to use a bit there, but does get away.
Yeah, meanwhile in the top lane, absolutely gigantic wave building. So maybe just denying some of the usefulness of the Dragon buff. Also get another Summoner spell out of Cool. So I'm not going to say it's a horrible thing, but not really much going to be happening for this King lineup. And the game's completely even pastry time. 65.8 thousand gold for each team.
Yeah, I have to say, Cool's Ezreal ults have been really clever. He's done a lot of trimming of waves from other sections and just really keeping the sidewars pushed in. Baron buff, of course, makes it pretty easy. And at this point, OMG now finally on the offensive.
Yeah, certainly looks to be that way. You see them going for the mid lane, although that is going to be extremely difficult to siege up because of the fact that there's no turret there and they're going for an inhibitor, which you really do have to commit for because you have to walk into the base. Opens yourself up to flank. Smart pink ward, but let's see if King decide to pull the trigger.
Morko going, posturing quite aggressively here. Does not quite have his void stuff, but plenty of flat damage, and the Baron minions doing a lot of work. They'll get the inhib.
King give it up, actually. Don't even go for any form of engage. Of course, MLXG's ult was in cooldown from the bottom exchange, and that means that now probably in favor of the OMG lineup. They've got the double AD. If they even kill one person, they push so incredibly fast.
Yeah, the game will probably end at that point if any sort of one team fight comes through. So King have to play quite carefully, but the Baron buff's still here. The super minions now going to be added to the pushes as well. Gogoing's even started to split push the bottom half of the map. So more tier 2 turrets going to fall. If OMG get another inhibitor, King are going to have a hard time, even with the 5th dragon coming.
Yeah, they certainly are. And you see how big Assassin is at this point of the game. Once again, hasn't gone for any Magic Pen, just going for all the flat AP, and OMG will grab another turret.
Yeah, that turret that was low just so quickly, but Cool gets jumped on. QSS out of it though, and Emma actually taking too much damage. Cloud gets eaten though, and a good amount of CC there from Gogoing coming in with the Fate Skull. Dives them back in. Uzi goes back down. Whoosh, hopping through everyone. They're going to kill Loving Gogoing. Cannot live through all that. 5-1 in favor of King.
And you see the pain of the late game Aurelia. Completely unstoppable, diving through the lineup, causing havoc. And when you have a Randuin's Omen and a Frozen Heart, that is not who the ADs want to have to hit, but they just had no choice.
Crazily enough, I don't know if King can actually win at this point because the sideways have all been pushed so aggressively forward. They're going to make a go of it for sure. Lame and Assassin, a pretty unlikely duo. We're going to start the push off together, and Whoosh now is down here as well. Will be a little bit more efficient. They're going to at least try and break some of the base, but Cloud's back up in 10. They'll probably get a single inhibitor, but that might just be it.
Yeah, I think that's what they settle for, and then they recall, go back to pushing out the other lanes. For a team that struggles sieging, that's actually a very good thing for even one inhibitor go down. So it is a positive that they definitely will take away. Also be able to grab both buffs on OMG's side of the jungle if they're check it on the way out, but looks like they'll just settle for the inhib.
And we talked about both teams having very good-looking team fights. King just took over that one.
Yeah, they certainly did, and I think it was all in the fact that MLXG dove into the lineup, everything was blown on him, and then there was nothing to deal with Sky.
Yeah, I mean, good going. We saw it. CC'd everyone beautifully there, trying to keep his front line protected, but just too many divers, too much tankiness, and, it's a pretty flimsy double AD comp here for OMG. They've been relying on just skillful team fighting or out-rotations to get to this point in the game already, but King in a straight 5v5 just look way too strong.
Yeah, they just look too tanky, and this is what I said. Do they have the damage? And it sounds so silly when you talk about a squishy lineup. They have a lot of burst damage. They can take care of one, but do they have the damage to take care of 3 huge tanks? And I don't think the answer is yes. Leona even is getting to the point where she's extremely tanky, especially with the W on. So I think that at this point in the game, unless the team fight goes long and extended and it's not really over in one clumped up thing, if it's scrappy and drawn out and they give Cool the chance to be able to chase the carries down and Uzi the chance to be able to use that passive, I think, yeah, definitely in OMG's favor. But if it's just two big 5v5 team fights that we see all the time in China running head-on into each other, King will win.
And Lexito going in onto Going. He's actually forced to ult himself, but a lot of damage coming in onto the Rengar. Betgol's been popped. That's a two-man knockup. Siva goes down instantly as Assassin uses the feast. And now Sky going to chase in as well. Cloud, the next target there, gets nailed by a Xenoblade, but taking a lot of damage here. Cool still does plenty of damage. Almost gets the next kill as Woosh now diving in onto the front line. Lamb actually does go down, but Woosh gets the counter kill onto Going. Sky now diving in, gets on top of Cool there, and now Woosh just needs to find the damage. Cool tanking a little bit too much. Will go down there as the double comes in. Cloud going to be the next to fall and goes in for the triple. And King, they've done it here. Only nearly left. This should be game.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to pick it up. And once again, it was just a head-on 5v5 team fight. King had a better win condition.
They did here, and Woosh dancing around has played so well on Kalista. 16-2-8. Loveling almost going to fall there as well, but King get the big prize. It's the Nexus they want, and they get it. And another split in the LPL spawn.
Yeah, so another split comes through. Definitely not what either team was looking for. OMG wanted it to try and get a little bit further ahead in that second spot, and King really needs to start picking up 3 points to secure the 8th spot. But hey, a win against OMG is a win against OMG at the end of the day. And when you do it in a fashion of Woosh going so ham, it's so good.
Yeah, Going actually had to, remember to shake his opponent's hand, was yelling at Loveling, I think, trying to explain something. Take his head off and go, sorry, yeah, good game, well played. Don't look too happy about it. Uzi actually smiling. It's kind of a weird thing to see after a loss, but to be honest, had one of his worst looking games I've ever seen. Woosh just destroyed him 2v2.
Yeah, he certainly did, and that's the thing. OMG couldn't dodge the lane swap. They didn't get the level 1 they were looking for. The wards were circumvented by King because they knew exactly where they were on the map and able to get the lanes that they wanted. Sure, it didn't work out for the Aurelia, but God, did it work out for the Kalista. Yeah,
and I mean, Kalista's just such a good champion. We've seen both Uzi and Woosh have fantastic games on her, and just going to have to maybe start seeing a bit more respect here. It's a reasonably common ban, maybe not enough here. Assassin, by the way, another win on the Cho'Gath, which is hilarious to me. And a split there. I mean, King will definitely not be happy to not get the full 3 points. And Royal have to think, match coming up tomorrow, they got to win 2-0.
Yeah, they certainly do. Everything on the line for Royal Club at this point.
Yeah, with that, we've got another great match coming up. A nice split again there, but of course another one here. But don't go anywhere, guys. The Samsung mid lane is going to do battle once again. It is Pawn versus Dade as EDG takes on M3.